It's hard to find someone who has played video games and hasn't gotten their hands on Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Everyone who even remotely considers themselves a gamer has either borrowed someone's copy outright or purchased the game for themselves or a family member. Animal Crossing went from a very quiet Nintendo IP to one that's become common knowledge, even to those who aren't well versed in the gaming world. I can talk to real life people about me making videos about Animal Crossing. Most of the time they know what Animal Crossing is. It's kind of crazy. Even boomers. They are aware. New Horizons was everywhere. So what happened to it? Why isn't New Horizons still in the spotlight? First, we need to determine why a game like Animal Crossing: New Horizons blew up the way it did. The game is just good. Animal Crossing is a solid Nintendo IP. It has a lot of strong, attractive qualities that you want in a game, like fully fleshed out mechanics, numerous and practically unending gameplay, and just fun mechanics. There's always something to do if you try hard enough. Animal Crossing has never had a straight linear storyline that the player was locked into. You can truly play the way you want to play, and this is very alluring to many different types of players, including non-gamers. Animal Crossing is the perfect introduction to video games. But I have an even better introduction for you. Dinner! Thanks to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh will bring you delicious, fresh crafted recipes right to your door. They have more options to support your healthy eating habits better than ever before. That rhymed. Choose your meals every week for the biggest menu yet with over 50 recipes to pick from. HelloFresh is currently offering free breakfast for life just in time for the school year. And if school doesn't affect you, yay adulting, then pretend I said just in time for fall. If you're anything like me, your life gets busy. HelloFresh makes it easy to adjust your deliveries from week to week. So if you're going on vacation, or maybe Brenda from next door dropped off the biggest lasagna you've ever seen, you can easily skip the week. And as the seasons change, so does the seasonal menu to highlight peak ingredients and flavors coming up, like pumpkin spice. Oh yeah. I don't normally consider myself a basic girly, but I will definitely be partaking in the pumpkin spicing. How can you not? With summer behind us and busy times ahead, we could all use some wholesome meals to save time and money. Each box is customizable to fit your preferences and includes pre-portioned ingredients, so you only pay for what you need. No more food waste for me. Sign up for HelloFresh today. Click the link in the description or use my code and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active if you're in the US. Outside of the US, local discount will apply. Now that we're full and fueled, it's time to get back to the video. As I was saying, Animal Crossing is the perfect introduction to video games. There's no combat, minimal risk, the hardest mechanic, probably fishing, which sometimes, and even then it's somewhat forgiving. This made it possible for these non-gamers to finally enjoy their time playing a video game. You can't be bad at Animal Crossing, and as a result, a whole boatload of new people found their way into the gaming space. Not to mention that everyone had a Switch already, and if they didn't already have one, they were buying one, because the Switch is awesome. The ingenuity of a somewhat inexpensive portable home console was definitely a huge contributing factor to why everyone had access to the gaming device. We've had other Animal Crossings release on other consoles, but this is the first one that really took off. Non-gamers, they didn't have 3DSs. It was too complicated of a system for an everyday person to get into. You had buttons, you had your stylus, you had to use both hands, you had 2 screens. It's a lot. It just wasn't what gaming noobs were interested in. The Switch, however, proved to be exactly what they needed and wanted. Also, COVID and lockdown played a huge part in people's willingness to try something new. We were in the oh no, I need a hobby mode for like 2 years straight. What's a good hobby to get into that sucks up all your time? Frickin' video games. New Horizons release date was literally perfect. The game gave us a way to escape our crappy lives and live somewhere far more entertaining. On the technical side of things, Animal Crossing and Nintendo games just in general are polished, completed games. There are usually minimal bugs, nothing breaks the game randomly while you're playing, and the game is just good. Unfortunately, we're in a world of crunch times and shoddy quality, so finding a game that has decent quality is a blessing. New Horizons, as a result, was a huge blessing. And the series in general is just good. Animal Crossing has been entertaining people for over 20 years now. Every game has been an absolute banger, even City Folk. I don't care what the reviews say, it's one of the best Animal Crossings out there. The people who find the series stick with it, and then they just tell everyone about it. It's not enough to just rise to the top, you also have to stay at the top. And New Horizons did just that for quite a while. We got frequent updates for the Switch game. I know what you're gonna say, these updates were meh and added mechanics we already had, but the update schedule was a great way for new players to be slowly integrated into the world of Animal Crossing. It helped introduce us to a few mechanics and characters at a time instead of overwhelming the players with everything. Think of Stardew Valley. I know countless people who couldn't get into one of the best farm sims out there because they were completely overwhelmed. Stardew doesn't have much of a tutorial. There are a few quests that do help you get a bit used to the mechanics of the game, but for the most part, you're dropped off at a completely overgrown farm and left to fend for yourself. Animal Crossing being limited at the beginning is definitely annoying for veterans of the series and probably hardcore gamers, but for the majority of the over 40 million players, this update schedule was extremely helpful. The thing that got me through the maybe lackluster updates? The data mines. Knowing the devs had so much planned for the future kept me going. Their plans didn't only consist of adding mechanics that we'd already seen in the series, but they also wanted to add new stuff. I think COVID, while it was one of the major factors for the success of the game, also hindered their future plans. Even though the multiplayer of New Horizons is severely lacking, the online interaction and the Animal Crossing community as a whole is a major reason people kept playing. When there's someone there that you can share your build with, or even just your experiences, that real-life person makes a difference. It kind of forms a community. You're not in this alone, you're playing with someone, even if you're just playing alone. On top of New Horizons being released at the perfect COVID time, it also helps that other games struggled and couldn't meet their previous development goals, which made New Horizons one of the few new games that were out during lockdown. While COVID was one of the better situations for this game, it also kind of ruined the game for some people. Every company had issues sticking to plans during the pandemic, and Nintendo was one of those companies. They didn't have any kind of work from home policy set up, so on top of people not being able to work from home, they also had to pause and create said policies to give people the correct equipment to make a game from the comfort of their living rooms. I don't know if you've ever made a game before, I haven't, but it takes a pretty hefty computer. You can't just pull out your Chromebook and load up Blender. It doesn't work. And as a result of this, I am convinced that the real update schedule for New Horizons got all messed up. Those data mines we got, most of them appeared in April of 2020, with mechanics that we didn't even end up seeing until the 2.0 update in November of 2021. Which seems really early to start adding code to a game. Again, I'm not a game dev. Maybe they added these in early so that implementing them later would be easier, but some stuff did change, like the Roost. Rooster was supposed to have his own standalone building, but instead we got an expansion of the museum. I'm not sure if this is because they just decided to change their minds when they realized that they were adding the Roost so late that forcing us to place a whole building on our already decorated islands, well, that would just be rude. I've already decorated my island and now I gotta fit this 4x5 building somewhere? Heck no. Or maybe they just changed their mind for other reasons. Who knows? But stuff did change from the original data mine. However, the lack of updates when the game was still new did kind of make some players fall off. I remember that by that first month, there were a significant number of people on Twitter, or at least Twitter was pushing those negative tweets to me, because that's what Twitter does. They were just fed up with the lack of content in the early game. They had hours and hours to spend on their island, and they finished everything that they wanted to. My counter argument to this is, how many hours did you put in that first month? 20? 40? 100? 100 hours in a month is... You know what? No, it's not crazy. I've definitely done that before. If you're getting 40 hours of playtime from a game, well, that's pretty good. I'd say you got your money's worth, and there's still more to come. But I do understand the frustration that people were feeling in the early days. We had nothing to do except play New Horizons. They were sad that the game they spent their days playing was finished for the time being. People waiting for more updates because they're having too much fun? It's not a bad thing. The main reason the game fell? It's just old. It's been out for 4 years. There are very few games out there that people are still playing 4 years later that aren't still getting updates. And that's not a bad thing. It's completely normal for a game to have a life cycle and for that life to end eventually. 4 years past the release date is a long time. Most games are dead after a couple months. As a result of the game being so old, the community is basically non-existent, which means community sites like Nookazon and Turnip Exchange that were usually overloaded with people are completely empty. You can find a few real people still on Nookazon, but it's nowhere near as easy as it was in the past. You can't even give Raymond away anymore. Even treasure islands are easy to access. The only cure for the dead Animal Crossing is a new game, which we won't see until a new console releases. For now, I'm just gonna keep playing New Horizons however I find it fun, like trying to collect every single villager photo for hundreds and hundreds of hours. I stream that, by the way, if you want to hang out and go crazy with the rest of us. Do you have any favorite memories of your time with New Horizons? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!